you go. Hey guys, I'm Al Washington, and welcome to my Mystical Loft. And I just want another friendly reminder to everybody that my official podcast season has not started yet, but I wanted to bring on another special guest. She has been a very good friend of mine for years, and she is a writer, a therapist, and a film director. Her name is Tiffany Dilworth. And I want
Hi,
you all to...
Al. It's so great to be here with you on Mystical Loft. I love the name, by the way.
Oh, thank
So
you. I appreciate it. Yes, I'm glad you
having
love it.
on.
Yes. Thank you so much. Okay, yes, and I'm going to pass the mic over to Tiffany, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So, Tiffany, let everybody know that how long have you been a writer and a filmmaker?
Yeah, it's a great question. And so, goodness, I've wrote my first book in 2016. So it's actually related to the area of mental health that I specialize in. So it's related to trauma. And after that, I said, you know what? I really enjoy writing. I started another book. But when it comes to actual film writing, I started that in 2018 with Charm City Filmmakers. It's actually where you and I met. And
Yeah.
so I definitely am so thankful for Charm City Filmmakers out of Baltimore. But that was my first year, 2018. And so I had initially planned on doing the film in 2019, but
Hmm.
as you know, the pandemic happened. And so I had to unfortunately be pushed back. And while the pandemic was going on, I had the opportunity to write my second film. And
Yeah.
so in
Yeah.
2021, towards the end of quarantine, that's when I was able to finally do both of my films, direct them and do the editing for them. So it's a really fun experience doing two films in a short period of time. But yeah, the pandemic really put a wrench, I think, in a lot of our lives. So
Yes.
I am thankful
Yeah.
that I was able to find an avenue to engage with people, even though we were in quarantine, and it was through writing.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I'm definitely with that. And speaking of writing, everybody, and I just want to let you guys know that me and Tiffany definitely write for two different genres. As you guys know, who knows my work, I'm more of a supernatural horror thriller, and she's definitely more with self-care, love, and mental health, which is definitely a very big issue still to this day, and especially for us writers, and especially for me, that since I seem to question myself when I'm writing and looking at it, as creators, as we writers can be. But speaking of the writing and your recent short film, Madison O, where you were the writer and director, and of course you wore a lot of hats, and I was your first AD. You did a fantastic job, beautiful film. So why don't you tell us
Oh,
more
thank
about
you.
that, like mixing in with the good and the bad, the cast and the crew? Like, was it a difficult scene or a shot
Yeah.
overall?
Yes, yes. And so it was my second film. And so I'd already had a little bit of experience. And when I look back at that time, I see it kind of as an overall perspective. And I see that was good, good, good. Some questionable moments. We kind of fell apart a little bit and went back to good. So we ended
Right.
on a good note. And
Yeah.
so it was a 2-day film. And I'm so glad that you were there. You were such a big help to me. You
I
really were.
thank you, Tiffany. I tried. Thank you. I was like, thank you for bearing with me, but you did a fabulous job. You really kept your cool. I worked with directors in the past that literally fly off the handle, but you didn't. You kept your composure. You were very professional, and you were just, it was natural how you did it. So definitely thank you for bringing me on board. So, yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And you know what? I'm glad you shared that because it really was a learning experience, not just being a director, but as a human being. Because
Yeah.
towards the end of the second day, all of us were tired. We had worked many hours the day before. We got up early that day.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
towards the end of the day, energy is low. We're tired. We're drained. We want this to be over with, but there's still more shots to do. And
Right.
so I can see how sometimes people can get really frustrated and fly off the handle. And
Yes.
so it's really about having good people around you, supportive people around you, people that you can say, you know what, I just need a 5 minute break. And they can still
Yes.
manage everything while you go take a break. And
Right.
so I really am grateful for the crew that I had. And at the same time, it also helps me to recognize that I can do this because I know
Right.
there's times where I question that. I know you had shared I was confident, but
Right.
there were times where I did question because I don't know if you remember this. On the first day, Ed was there. Remember Ed?
Yes, I remember. Yeah,
So
yeah, I remember.
Ed, he does this for a living. So he's like an expert, right? And so
Right.
I remember he was helping us, guiding us a little bit. And then the second day, same thing, he was guiding us. But the second part of that day, he had to leave. And
Oh
so
yeah, I
I felt
remember.
like he was my crutch, and my crutch just left. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's just me. And I had to figure this out. And he's my earpiece telling me what to do. And so I don't know if you noticed or not, but I actually was kind of really nervous a little bit towards the second half of that day. And like I said, you guys really stepped up. You guys were there for me and encouraged me. And I remember some of the talent, I could tell they were getting drained and tired as well.
Right.
And so I had to make sure I took care of them, because they're the stars. They're the
Exactly.
ones
Yeah.
that's going to be on the film. And so I really had to make sure that they were taken care of. And so I kind of put my nervousness aside and just focused on them, focused on you guys, make sure you guys were okay. And I think that's just a part of being a director, is recognizing that your crew and the talent that you have on set, making sure that they're doing okay, make sure that they're doing well and keeping the energy up. So I had to make
Yeah.
sure I was in a positive mood, and I was making sure that I stayed focused and kept the time moving, because time can really go by fast when you're on set.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so I remember there's one part towards the end of the second day where our we had someone on the team had an idea on how to do a scene to make it more dramatic, and it was
Hmm.
changing the lights.
Yeah.
And I
That
couldn't,
part.
he the way he explained it, he didn't fully explain it, but I could tell he saw the vision, and he was like, just trust me. And so I had to decide, okay, do I trust him even though he hasn't fully explained his vision, or do I focus on us hurry up and just getting everything done because we're running out of time? Because it was on a Sunday and we all had to go to work on Monday. And
Yeah.
so I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna follow my gut, my instincts, and go with the flow and let him go ahead and do what he has in his vision.
Right.
And so I did it. And in the film, you'll see a scene where it's really dramatic in the scene and the light changes and it
Yeah. I did
adds
like
to the
that.
momentum of the scene. Yeah. And so I'm really glad that I just went with my instincts. And again, I had really good, strong people around me to help with the film, to help make sure my vision came to life. And of course, the talents did an amazing job. One thing I
Right.
learned through this is that if there's ever a really emotional scene that the talent has to do, it's crucial to do that towards the end, because there's a scene in the film where she's crying and screaming.
Right.
And if we had done that earlier in the day, she would have been drained the rest of the day. And so that
Yeah.
helped me just to be mindful again of making sure that we're taking care of our talent. And so as you can hear, there are a lot of learning lessons for me, and a lot
Right.
of great experiences I had as well. So I'm so thankful that I had the opportunity to be able to work with Charm City and you guys
Right.
on just
Absolutely.
navigating that experience and again that personal growth as well.
Absolutely, Tiffany. No, thank you. And I just felt like at that time, like, as you said, that everybody had to go to work the next day. But I know it can't always be about that. It's like we're creating, we're making the movie. And I felt like, because I had some people come up to me, you know, Al, I know we're kind of pushing the time and how much more, and I have to go. I said, guys, I understand that, but we're going to get it done. We got to get the shots. So, like I said, be patient. And after that, they were great. So, yeah, I'm sure you had moments like that, Tiffany, but you handled it like a boss. So I thought it was great. So I'm glad the film came out how you wanted it. So yeah, I was
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that.
absolutely, absolutely. You're very welcome. No, and definitely a good wrap on the film. You guys, please make sure to check that out. Madison is on her YouTube channel, Tiffany Dilworth. But so Tiffany, let's go ahead and get to the latest and the greatest. I know, but never the least, your recent book, Types of Grief. Did I say that correctly? Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Types of grief.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell us
And
about that.
so grief is something that impacts everyone at some point in life, whether it is the loss of a job, loss of a friendship, a partner, the death of a loved one, the loss of a pet, or simply moving from one location to the other. So loss of community, loss of friends. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, we just push through it without even pausing and acknowledging it. And so what happens, for some people, it builds and builds and builds. And next thing you know, we are grieving intensely and we're confused. Why am I grieving so much? Why do I feel sad? Why do I feel anxious? Why do I feel overwhelmed all of a sudden?
Right.
Well, there's all this added experiences and events that we haven't processed. And so when it comes to type of grief, what I've done, I've broken down the different types of grief. So that way people are able to recognize when it happens. And also in the book, there's suggestions on what can be done to
Hmm.
help work through that grief. And of course, I always encourage seeing a licensed clinical professional counselor for extra support.
That's right.
So it's definitely not a book that's all inclusive. There are definitely other tools out there, but I just wanted a book that was an easy read, and gave some ideas on what we can do and some psychoeducation about the different types of grief as well. And so yeah, that's my one of my latest books. And more recently, I've almost finished with Dear Nieces. And
Nice.
so that is more of a personal book. So my first two books are psychoeducation oriented. The first one's for trauma, and the second one's related to grief, or the two areas I specialize in. But this third book, it's more of just Tiffany talking to her nieces. So I have two nieces, and they're so adorable.
Oh.
One's in first grade, the other one's in fifth grade, and
Okay.
and so I wrote this book because, as you probably know, the dating life can be very challenging.
Oh yeah.
And I said, you know what? I want to give some education to other people about my experiences. And so when I got into college, I started taking notes. I did, Al.
Oh
Started taking
wow.
notes about my experiences, what I learned. And next thing I know, I have over 100 pieces of advice. And then
Okay.
it added to 200 pieces of advice and 300 pieces of advice. And that's what the book is. It's just over 300 pieces of advice that I wish somebody had given me when I was dating, before I started dating.
Okay. Right. I hear
And
that.
so that's what the book is about. And so I'm excited to see how it goes. And
Yeah.
of course, it's too young for my nieces right now, but
Right.
when they get older, they'll be able to read it. Um,
No, and I just hope they don't get, I guess, with the social media, everyone's like, well, social media is a problem when it comes to dating. No, it just makes it more easier to cheat and it's more temptation. That's it. Trust me. If it wasn't around TikTok and Instagram, whatever, people will find ways to still get what they want. So I just didn't want your nieces, like, hopefully they don't, get discouraged of like, because you said that with the dating scene and everything. So, and the pages you've written, I'm sure you can do like a journal diary type of thing, probably. Definitely for your
mhm.
book. So yeah, like a diary
Yeah, yeah.
pages.
I love that. Yes, and actually, that is part of. There's one chapter where they write down their own experiences, uh, as well. So, but yeah, I love that idea.
Dear
Thanks.
Nieces, yeah, I mean, definitely keep me in the loop for that. That's not, I love the title, Dear Nieces. I love it. Okay. I like that. But so overall, from the films and books that you've written so far, what made you pick up the pen? What was there something or someone that made you go for your calling? Do you have a favorite writer? Any books, movies?
Yeah, that's a good question. So this is twofold. So first, my first book I wrote because I saw a need. I had a lot of clients coming in sharing that they wish they had more coping skills for trauma. And so I saw a need. And so that's what provoked me to write a psychoeducational book. But before then, I was writing as a child. I remember remember in school, we had those creative writing assignments.
Yeah, I
I
remember. Yes.
loved them. I did. I remember there were
Ooh.
times my teachers, they would have me go in front of the class and read it because they really enjoyed my writing. And that's where my
Very
writing
cool.
really began. And then fast forward, this might sound strange, but Ralph Waldo Emerson, I know
Yes.
he's very dark and morbid, but
Really?
I
Okay.
really liked him. I did. I really liked him in middle school, and I really embraced a lot of his poems, and it just helped me move forward, when it comes to writing. And then when I got into college, there was a Black Student Association I joined, and
Hmm.
we did our own student play. And I had the opportunity to write characters in that play.
Oh,
And
nice.
that was my first time writing characters in actual play and seeing it on stage. And so that was an amazing experience. And it just kind of took off from there, just continuing to write and give support to people who are writing plays and then being in plays myself. So being on that other end as well. And then being in Baltimore, connecting with you
Yeah.
guys. And so it really had started way back in childhood, the whole writing and creative writing experiences.
Definitely, I feel that. I didn't know you like Ralph. Well, I can't pronounce his last name, Emerson. Yeah, he is dark. I was like Tiffany. I didn't know you. It was. I didn't know you like that though. Okay, he is a little dark, but that's
Yeah.
definitely good inspiration. Okay,
Yeah.
I
If I
like
had
that.
my way in middle school, I'd have been gothic. But my parents were like, no, Tiffany. So
Tiffany, I
yeah,
can't see that
that was
now.
me in
There's
middle
no
school.
way. No, really,
Mhm.
you were gothic. I can't picture you like that now. Okay, wow.
Well,
Okay.
I
Wow.
wanted to be. I wanted to be,
You
but my
wanted,
parents wouldn't
okay.
let me dress that way. Yes, they would not let
Oh,
me. So they steered me to the cheerleading route. So that's probably what you see, the cheerful cheerleader, Tiffany.
well,
But
yeah.
deep down inside, I really wanted to embrace the gothic side. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. No, this is something new. I didn't know that because again, you know my tone of like I said, what I'm my genre, what I do. I was like, wow, I was like, let me I want to bring Tiffany on and again, guys, because definitely she's a beautiful, wonderful writer. And she definitely deals with a lot of issues with mental health and self-care. So, and that again, I can't stress that enough how important that is, and especially for us creative writers. So, very important.
Yes. Yes, because
That's
sometimes anxiety can pop up, stress can pop up, that pressure can pop up.
yes.
So it's really crucial that we are managing that. Because if we aren't careful, we can have nervous breakdowns. And so it's
Yes.
very important that we're enjoying life and we're giving our brains a break every once in a while.
Yes,
Yeah.
preach that. And that's something that I need to hear because, yeah, apparently I have, yes, that goes double for me. But Tiffany, how does it feel being a published author? How do you feel just being published?
Well, it didn't really change for me. I feel being a published author, I think what happens is whenever a person comes up to me and says, "Hey, I got your book," or "I read your book," or somebody sends me an email or a message, that's when I realize, oh, I did write a book. And it's just an honor. It's an honor to see how it's impacted other people and they share with me how they share the book with their family members or their daughter or their son because they were going through something. And so it really is just an honor and it fills me with joy just knowing that I was able to help someone who had
Hmm.
experienced trauma or grief.
I think that's great. Okay. Now, regarding when you're writing, do you have a unique like writing style process, like a routine that you do? You have any like good or bad moments? Like I said, when you're writing, you have any certain routine, or you want to tell us more about that, like your writing style, just your process in a few words?
Yes, I know everyone has a different process. So for me, I like to make it as free and fun as possible. So I write just whatever comes to mind. If it's a random word, a random sentence, a
Right.
random image, a random scene, I just write it down. And then once it's all written down, then I go back through and organize it. And so once it's
Okay.
organized into sections, even while I'm organizing, other thoughts or scenes might come in to my mind. I'll do a little note to the side. I could possibly do a scene here about this or a scene there about that. But my main focus on that second reading is just to organize. And then I go through a third time. And when I go through that third time, I focus on those suggestions and I implement them into those different areas. And then when I do the fourth time, it's just kind of clean up, just making sure the flows well, the characters are consistent,
Hmm.
making sure that the story makes sense, the storyline makes sense, there's congruency, and making sure that there's life and energy in every page that I write. And so that's usually how I write when it comes to doing film. And there's also a novel I've been working on for many years now.
Uh-huh.
And so the novel's actually been written. It's just the editing process, which is the most challenging part.
God, yeah, I
And
can't.
so, yeah, I'm still in the editing process of the novel. It's a dramatic teen novel. Um,
Wow.
but but yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's challenging sometimes and a bit overwhelming, especially when the editor comes in and says, "We're doing redoing this whole chapter or this whole three chapters." And it's like, ah, I put in so much work. But they see the vision and they're the experts, so I trust what they're saying. And
Right.
so yeah, that can be challenging sometimes. Seeing somebody come in and just completely scratch different scenes from your book, but the bigger picture is it does make sense what they're saying, or they're wording it in a way that flows better. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it's about trusting that process.
I mean, it's just challenging just regardless. I mean, not second guessing myself, just questioning it. But so you're saying that when you're dealing with when you're like I said, dealing with your editor, do you take all their advice or just some of it doesn't apply to you or just let it roll off and said, yeah, yay, nay. Majority of the time they are right, like I said, especially when it comes to development editing, at least on my end. I mean, did you ever have like a challenge type of thing, or if they said something you don't agree with, any contradictions, just like, yeah, maybe. Maybe I
Yeah,
question.
and I think that's natural. I think that happens, of course, because we're
Right.
two different personalities, two different perspectives. So I think it's natural for there to be moments where we don't agree. But I do try to take majority of their feedback because again, they are the experts. They do this for a living. And so I do my best to take as much as of the feedback as I possibly can. But
Right.
there's moments where I'm like, I really want this tone, or I really want them to say this in this way because of this emotion that I want them to demonstrate.
Yeah.
And usually when I share that with them, we can work together to figure out how can we find this middle ground. And so I haven't really had any hard stops of no, we're not meeting the middle ground. My editor is really good at coming to the middle, like, okay, I hear that voice, Tiffany. I hear what you're trying to have this character do and say
Right.
and experience. Let's find another way of doing it. And so we usually do find a middle ground. I don't think I've had that experience where it's just a hard no, we're butting heads, we're not agreeing on how this is going to manifest. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, but editing,
So
yeah, I
overall,
don't know
it's a
about
good
you. Ooh.
experience.
No, editing, oh my God. Yeah, I cringe. I get, yeah, the process. Ooh, I'm still, yeah, still newbie with it because I'm working on my first novella as well. But if you can or had a chance, if you were able to do your own version or take on a film or writing project, what would it be?
Oh, that is a great question. If I
I'm just,
could have my
all
own
these questions.
version,
I'm just curious to see what Tiffany
take
would,
on a
what
film,
she'd
that
have to
is a
say.
really good question. Um, so when
These-
it comes to film, it's the cliffhangers. I do not like Well, let me rephrase that.
Oh, wow.
It's the intense cliffhangers on films. So for example, Harry Potter films. Like, yes,
Okay.
there's a slight cliffhanger because there's this big overarching theme that's happening, but there's closure at the end of the film. Like, okay, in this chapter, there's going to be another chapter. There's going to be another film coming. Same thing with Harry Potter films, or not Harry Potter, Chronicles of Narnia.
Okay.
Same thing with
Beautiful.
those films. At the end, there's closure, and then there's another film that comes out. But there's some films where it's just like you can't stop there. Like, no, it cannot end here. So, for example, Hunger Games, the second Hunger Games. I don't know if you're into Katniss,
I
but
am. Yeah. I
she's
am.
great. So the second Hunger Games, hopefully
Yeah.
everyone's seen it. If you haven't, please plug your ears. I don't want to ruin the story, the film for you. But
Hold
at the
on.
end, when she shoots the arrow, and then they take her up into this, and we don't even know where it's at for sure. We don't know if it's an airplane, it's a building she's in now, but the film just ends. You're like, wait a minute, the bad guy, he's in the room now. How does the bad guy here? And it's
Right.
just like you can't stop the film at this point. And so I would change those cliffhangers, those really intense cliffhangers that leaves
Okay.
more questions than answers.
Yeah.
Another
Yeah. Yeah.
another film are Maze Runners. I know Maze Runners had a lot of different perspectives because it's essentially the same movie over and over, or the
Yeah.
storyline is over and over, but the first cliffhanger of that first film, it was so intense because they get out the maze and someone gets killed and they're dragged out of the building. And the movie ends. They're like, wait, what? Someone just got killed? Wait, how did what? Where did they go? And so there's just so many intense emotions at the very end of the film,
Uh-huh.
and of course, it takes them a couple of years before the next film comes out. So you're tossing and turning, trying to figure out, I don't understand where they went. Who were those people? How did they drag them out so quickly? I don't understand why that person had to die. And there's just such intense emotions at the end of some of these movies. And so if I had it my way, I
Uh-huh.
would change these cliffhangers not to be so intense. Cliffhangers are great because it keeps people coming back, but
Right. Exactly.
sometimes they're really too intense and it causes us to have more questions and tossing and turning, trying to figure out what's going to happen next. So I would probably change that, do a little different version of having more closure. I'll put it that way, having more closure at the end of some of these movies with really intense cliffhangers. Yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay. Interesting. No, Maze. Okay, so Tiffany, I haven't seen Maze Runners yet, but
Oh
I
no, I
saw.
think I spoiled it for you. I'm
Oh
sorry.
no, you're fine. No, no, I'm saying I haven't seen that yet, but I saw it like on I guess it's playing on Netflix now, just like a commercial of it. But no, you're fine. It looks interesting. I just haven't seen it yet. I mean, the Maze Runner. But you said they killed somebody in the beginning. That catches my attention. But I mean, yeah, you said the cliffhangers. How interesting. So that's something you would take on, or like a film or like a writing project. Like what would it be? Okay. So Hunger
Yes,
Games.
yes. Let's figure out how we can get more closure. Um, and so on some of these films. I do appreciate the Marvel. movies
Uh-huh.
because after
Yeah.
the credits, you can see the continuation a little bit. They'll give you a little glimpse of what's going to happen next. So I do appreciate that. I wish more films would do something similar to that. So we still have that anticipation. It doesn't have to be with the intense cliffhangers. There's this emotional, oh my goodness, there's this emotional wound that's open now, and I have to figure out what's going to happen. Versus
Hmm.
at the end of a lot of Marvel movies, after the credits, there's a cliffhanger of, oh, that looks good. That looks interesting. I want to see this next one. So there's both cliffhangers, but there's different emotions that are being pulled and drawn out. And so for me as a mental health clinician, I want us to be at peace and at joy and have healthy anticipation, not, I need this answer,
Right.
intense and anxiety anticipation. So I'd rather have the peaceful anticipation, the healthy anticipation.
You want the peaceful, healthy invitation. Okay. So on a side note, on a random note, you said speaking of Marvel movies, one thing I just don't like to do if I had to rewrite one of my favorite films or something like a fan fiction, I don't like doing dream sequences. I don't. I don't like doing dream sequences. It has to be a unique way. I don't know about you, if you're familiar with it, like just consistently the characters having the same
Yeah,
dream over and over again. I'm sorry. It's just, I don't know why though, because it's repetition. I don't know about you. I can't do it. I try. It just
I
has to
hear what
be a
you're saying.
certain. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yep, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, the only thing close to that would be I don't know if this is something you like Nightmare on Elm Street. That's a little bit different
Mm,
because Freddy
mhm.
comes in your dreams and out, inside and out. And if he kills you, and you know the story. If you guys
Right.
don't know, he'll kill you in your dream. And if you wake up, he can still kill you. But either way, that's a little bit different. But just consistently dream sequences on the next page. Oh, the same dream. Oh, chapter 10. Oh, the same. I can't. Tiffany, I can't. I just no. I'm gonna hurt somebody. I can't.
Understand.
I just
I understand.
exactly. So I cannot do that.
I
So
like that. So you would switch that up a little bit, it sounds like.
I would switch it up. I mean,
What would
okay,
you switch it to?
I can try, but it's just the repetition of just consistently seeing dream sequences. I just don't know why I have that problem. That's just not my thing. I don't know. It just has to be, like I said, especially unique, like a Nightmare on Elm Street type of thing. That's yeah.
Mhm.
I can't do it. So I try.
What is a dream sequence, but there is something unique in each of those dreams that they're presenting.
But if it's the same one, okay, I'll try to be more open-minded with it. But if they keep doing the same thing, like, oh God, it's like for, us rewriting, like, us writers, it's a little
Mhm.
bit different. But okay, I'll try to be more open-minded. I can't, but please,
I
okay.
understand.
Yeah. Anyway. No, so we got just a few minutes left, and I wanted to see if you had any advice for those who want to break into writing and creating and directing, or those who are still in writing or having a writer's block, or those who are just well known, just in general, the advice that you would give to someone who officially, let's first start with just who officially just wants to break in and do it, but they're afraid to, or time, or simply just straight out of fear. Any last?
Well, I think it goes back to human nature. It's natural for us to be scared of the unknown. And we're doing something for the first time, we're taking that first step. It is natural for us to be a little scared, a little hesitant, a little cautious. And so I encourage continue and take that step. That's the only way we're going to get through to the other side. That's the only way we're going to get this experience is if we take that first step. And so if that means we crash and burn the first step, it's okay. We'll take it as a learning lesson, figure out what to do better and what to do differently in the future. And so that's one thing that I really appreciate about my parents is they taught me just try. And if you mess up,
Yeah.
take it as a learning lesson and try again, but don't give up. And so that's one of the things I would definitely encourage people who want to get into this space. Also, surround yourself with good people. That is very, very important. Surround yourself with good people who encourage, who lift you up. Because you will find people who will find any little negative thing to say to you about what you're
Yeah.
doing, that will nitpick, that will try to destroy what you're doing. But they say, well, I'm just trying to help you. So be mindful of who you're surrounded with and making sure that they really are positive people who genuinely want to see you succeed. That is very, very
Right.
important. I mean,
No,
sometimes you have to be your own cheerleader, in the
that's right.
meantime.
That's right.
Yeah.
So true. Yes. I had no true words definitely have spoken for that. So right now, before we wrap up, you said you're working on Dear Nieces, and are you looking to do another short film coming up? Any?
Yes, I am. So I have an idea mulling around in my mind. Of
Hmm.
course, there's gonna be a little trauma in there because that's what I specialize in.
Right.
Um, but this one it has a little magic in there too. So a little magic and thinking about the economy. And so I put a little bit of that in there. And so it's just an idea right now. I already kind of have an idea of the characters that I want to do. So it's just a matter of writing it all down and actually putting it into a format that I can present to others and get some feedback from it. So, yeah, just a little idea that I have mulling around in my mind right now that I
That's
will at
right.
some point put it on paper.
That's right. Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, because you said the idea is just right there. It's right there beating at you, but it's just it's kind of floating, if you will. So,
Mhm.
with the
Yeah.
idea. I see that. Okay. Definitely keep me posted with that, Tiffany. For those who want to check out Medicine O, it is again on Tiffany's channel. And Tiffany, if you want to give the name again, my apologies. I don't want to. Is it Tiffany Dilworth, your channel, correct? For the
Tiffany Dilworth,
YouTube channel?
or actually it's Miss Dilworth, Miss Dilworth, Dilworth. It's on YouTube. So yes, definitely take a look at my videos. I have both of my first two films on there. And so I definitely love sharing just the creativeness of things. And by the way, it was my first time editing, so please don't judge too hard.
Oh God.
But this year, I've actually really honed in on editing a lot more. And so I'm excited for a next film to come out because I know the editing is going to be so much better.
That's
Because I
right.
actually
You
hired
did
someone
it.
to teach me more about editing. So I've just been practicing the past few months just to
Absolutely.
increase my skills, you know.
But you should be proud of yourself because you did it though. You could have said, no, no, this is not going to come out. But no, in order for us to get better, we got to keep doing it. But you dipping your feet in the water and going in, you should definitely be proud of yourself for that. Truly, for that. You did it. So yeah, we
Yeah,
can
I
always
appreciate that.
improve. You're welcome. Absolutely. We can always definitely always improve. Those who don't feel differently, obviously, but in order to get better, that's what we have to do. So yeah, we don't
Thank you so
stop
much for
there.
having me on the show. This has been
Thank
so much
you.
fun, Al. It has. And congratulations on the show. It's awesome.
Thank you. No, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming aboard. Thank you so much. Definitely for that. So, guys, that is it for this evening. And please check her out, Tiffany Dilworth, and even her website, missdilworth.com. Okay, you guys definitely have a good night, and I will see you next time.